The world of digital learning is expanding so quickly, and with that expansion is coming a number of myths that are developing in the marketplace. And those myths come because people are enthusiastic but they don't really understand digital learning. So I'm going to share with you what I consider 7 myths of digital learning. Myth number 1, digital learning will replace face-to-face. That is a big myth. I want you to imagine that you're at the beach and you see someone drowning, and then this little kid comes and says, I'll save that person, I'll save that person. And I say, wow, you're really good. Where did you learn this so quickly? And he said, I learnt it on YouTube. Would you trust this person, this young kid, to save that person in the distance? And the answer is no. Digital plays a role, and face-to-face still will play a role when the learning is more complex, when it is about application, for example, communication skills, conflict resolution skills, sales skills. When it is simple learning or knowledge-based, then digital will certainly play a role. What is true is, over time, digital will reduce the amount of face-to-face training, but it will not eliminate face-to-face training. Myth number 2, learners are self-driven. Give them the content and they will go to the learning. That is a big myth. Look at the people around you. They've got their KPIs to meet. They've got their time pressures. They've got their bosses breathing down their necks. How many of them will engage in learning just for the sake of learning? Imagine they've been on a leadership development program. Their boss is breathing down their neck and they're supposed to do their learning. It won't happen. The alternative is to build learning habits with your people. And it's about building incentives and building engagement for the learners to want to engage in the learning. But do not assume that providing the content means that your learners are going to go and engage in the learning. Myth number 3, it's all about the technology. I want you to imagine that I give you a toolbox. It's a shiny toolbox with tools you've never seen. The tools look really shiny and you'll say, wow, that's exciting, I want to use it, but you won't know how to use them. And that's what digital is, that's what's happening in digital now. Organizations are investing in digital, but people don't know how to use them. L&D doesn't know how to use those tools. As a result, lots of mistakes are being made. The key barrier around the world to the implementation of digital is the people factor. It's knowledge of L&D and getting your learners to learn in a different way. Myth number 4, it's all about micro-learning. Fit the learning into little learning bites. That is a myth. We need to separate out micro-learning, little bites, from macro-learning. Micro-learning is when there is a specific issue or problem. You might want to engage in a performance review or be able to give feedback to an employee. That's a specific problem. Macro learning is when there is learning over a period of time. A leadership development program, a sales development program, customer service skills. So micro learning is very problem focused, whereas the macro learning is when there is a deeper learning over a longer span of skills, knowledge, and even mindsets. Myth number 5, and I expect some people to be arguing with me, and I'm happy for them to argue with me on this one. But myth number 5 is keep your learning down to 3-minute bites. Now, if this was true, we would not have TED Talks. TED lasts for 18 minutes. TED, millions of people watch TED. So it is not about the length. It is about how do you engage people in the learning. And you engage people, you can do that through quizzes, through engaging content, by even gamifying the learning. But please do not assume that every little bit of learning has to be in 3 minutes. And by the way, just imagine, how much can you learn in 3 minutes a day? 15 minutes a week. Not very good at all. You don't learn very much in 3-minute bites. Myth number 6, this one really annoys me. It is when learning and development people with the old way of thinking that they will be modern. So what do? They get into digital learning by taking the PowerPoint slides, learning how to animate them, maybe putting a voiceover and putting it on the system and calling that digital learning. What does it end up being? Boring. It gives digital learning a bad name. What I say is this is lazy digital learning. It is not from a base of good knowledge, and it just does not work. Myth number 7, and it is give them content and they will come and they will learn. That is an enormous myth. There are content libraries around the world. There is no shortage of content. Content is not the issue, because what we do know is that content libraries commonly have low adoption rates. Putting the content in front of them is only a part of it. It is about how do you engage people in the learning? How do you create learning journeys with the content? But please do not assume because you've put content on your system that you're engaging in digital learning. There is much more to it than that.